Right now, India is sitting on tens of millions of tons of surplus rice and wheat. We are the largest milk producer on earth and we export grain to the entire world. And more than a third of our children under 5 are stunted. Nearly 70% are anemic. Worse than Chad, worse than the Central African Republic, countries with a fraction of our income. Economists have a name for this. They call it the Asian Enigma. And for 30 years, it has been one of the most uncomfortable questions in developmental economics. How does a country drowning in food raise some of the smallest children in the world? And here's the part that blew my mind. The problem is not a lack of food, it never was. Today I'm giving away 2 lakh rupees to attack the part of this that money can actually fix. This is episode 4 of the 50 project. I'm giving away 1 crore rupees of my own money across 50 causes and every single transfer happens right here on camera. You can never donate to me, not now, not ever. This is 2 lakh rupees. If I gave this to you right now, what would you do with it? Because here's what this problem costs us. Malnutrition burns somewhere between 2 to 4% of India's GDP every year forever. Not in sympathy, in output, in wages. An adult who was stunted as a child earns about 20% less than one who wasn't. We have the largest young population on earth. Everyone keeps saying this century belongs to India. We are about to hand that century to a generation we are underfeeding. Now, India did not ignore this. India built the largest school meal program in the history of the world. It started in Madras in 1925. In 1982, M.G. Ramachandran scaled it across Tamil Nadu, and almost every serious economist in the country called it a waste of the public's money. They were wrong. Enrollment climbed. Girls stayed in school. It is one of the best investments an Indian state has ever made. But the rest of the country only woke up because of a famine. In 2001, 47 people starved to death in a drought-hit Rajasthan. At that exact moment, the Food Corporation of India was sitting on around 60 million tons of grain, 3 times what we were required to hold, some of it rotting in the open. People died of hunger next to warehouses full of food. That case went to the Supreme Court, and in November 2001, the court ordered every government school in India to serve a hot, cooked midday meal. Today it is called PM Poshan, and it reaches 118 million children. And here is the number that should make you angry. The government's budget to cook that meal, the dal, the oil, the vegetables, the fuel, the labor, is 6 rupees and 78 paise per child per day. Go and try buying anything for 6 rupees and 78 paise. So we have the food, we have a legal right to it, we have the biggest feeding program on the planet. Why are our kids still stunted? Because, and this is the fact that genuinely reframed the whole thing for me, a huge part of Indian malnutrition is not a food problem at all. It is an absorption problem. The economists Dan Spears and Dean Coffey show that India's sanitation crisis can statistically explain most of the height gap between Indian and African children. Grow up surrounded by fecal bacteria and your gut lining inflames, flattens, and stops absorbing nutrients properly, which means you can feed the child a perfect meal and the body will simply not take it in. And there's a harder truth I need to give you. The critical window for nutrition is the first 1000 days, conception to age 2. The Lancet is blunt about it. Damage done in that window is largely irreversible. So a hot lunch at age 8 does not reverse stunting. If a charity tells you it does, they are lying to you. But here's what it absolutely does do. It fixes hunger right now because a kid running on empty cannot learn and no teaching gets through a blood sugar crash. It corrects anemia and iron deficiency measurably drags down attention, memory and IQ. And one of the most important things, it gets kids into the room at all. The attendance evidence is strongest in the entire field and is strongest for the girls. And it feeds the girls who will become mothers, which is the only way you break the cycle before it starts again. That is the leverage. And school feeding returns $8 to $9 for every dollar spent. There's almost nothing else on earth you can buy at that price. Which brings me to Akshaya Patra. They started in 2000, feeding 1,500 kids in 5 Bangalore schools. Today, they feed 2.35 million children a day across 16 different states in India. A kitchen wakes up at 4 in the morning. Rice in 500-liter cauldrons. 10,000 rotis an hour. Insulated trucks running 80 kilometers out, arriving hot enough to serve. In March, the President of India served their 5 billionth meal. Gandhi Peace Prize, BBC Global Food Champion, inducted into the ICAI Hall of Fame for financial reporting. But I am not just funding lunch, because lunch is not the gap. Lunch lands at 12:30. School starts at 9. So for 3.5 hours, the hours where the actual teaching happens, a kid who ate nothing at home is running on nothing. So I am funding their midday meals program as well as their morning nutrition program. Breakfast before the first lesson. And the government funds none of it, not 1 paisa. No scheme, no subsidy, no line in any budget. That program exists for exactly as long as somebody pays for it. But before I hit transfer, I owe you the full truth. Three things. One, Akshaya Patra is not a charity in the way you are picturing. It is a government contractor. It implements PM Portion, it receives the state's cooking cost reimbursement, and it gets free grain from the Food Corporation of India. So money is the gap. The difference between the meal the law pays for and the meal a kid will actually finish. I think that gap is worth funding. But I'm not gonna pretend I can prove my rupee created a meal that would otherwise not exist. Two, and this is a sharp one, Akshaya Patra Foundation does not serve eggs. That is not a nutritional decision, it is a religious one. They follow a strict Sattvic menu. Now hold that next to the fact that 70% of Indian children are anemic, and the cheapest complete protein source with iron in it is an egg. The National Institute of Nutrition recommends at least 3 a week. Public health doctors Sylvia Karpagam, Vandana Prasad, and the Right to Food campaign have been fighting them on this for years. Their argument is that a religious organization should not be setting the menu of a secular legal entitlement, especially when most of the children eating it come from communities that eat eggs at home. Akshaya Patra, on the other hand, says it hits every government calorie and protein norm without them. Both of these things are true at once, and this one bothers me. 3. They are not on GiveWell's list. GiveWell optimizes for lives saved per rupee, and a school meal mostly does not save lives, it builds them. Measured purely on deaths prevented, the mosquito nets from episode 1 beat this donation comfortably. I'm doing it anyway, because a country is more than its death rate. So let's run it. Akshaya Patra prices a full academic year of midday meals at 1500 rupees per child, 232 school days. 2 lakh rupees divided by 1500 is 123. 123 children. A hot lunch every single school day for an entire academic year. And I have added their morning nutrition program on top of that. Breakfast before the first lesson, the part the government pays nothing for. So as you can see, 2 lakh rupees gone from my account, the receipt goes on a public ledger like everyone before it. If this moved you, do not send anything to me. Do your own research and donate directly to Akshaya Patra through the verified link in the description. A school breakfast is not gonna cure malnutrition in this country. I have been honest with you about that the whole way through. But 123 kids are going to eat every school day for a year, and that is the one part of this that I can actually count. This is episode 4 of the 50 project. 50 causes, 1 crore rupees, every rupee on camera, every number checked. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in episode 5.